Hello there and welcome. This is Mikhail or Michael speaking. As always, thank you all who decided to support me financially, be it through PayPal, Patreon, or Super Thanks. Your help is immense and helps me survive and put food on my table. Now, without further ado, let's jump straight to Bakhmut, or shall we call it Artyomovsk. First of all, it is now came clear that Russians had captured this entire territory, thus ending the siege of Bakhmut. Of course, pro-Ukrainian sources at first denied it and said that fighting here still continues and Bakhmut is still in control of Ukrainian forces, but then reported that all Ukrainian forces have retreated to Ivanyivsky and here in the open field. What's interesting is that here in this open fields, Ukrainian forces had dug in and created some defensive positions across the forest lines. Now, if we look closely, we can see that these said defensive positions is supposed to defend Ivanyivsky from a Russian attacks coming in from the east. It is unclear whether Russians are attacking these positions as of right now, but what's clear is that because of those positions being in the open field, Russians are heavily shelling these positions. Ukrainians are also reporting that Ivanyivsky is being a subject of Russian attacks. Whether those attacks are coming from the east or here from the south is unclear. They have not specified it, but I would assume it's coming from both directions as it would make much more sense. Then we have situation in Khromove. As some reports suggest, Khromove is being completely deserted by Ukrainians and Russians taking control of the settlement. It is unclear how much exactly territory Russians control, but what's clear is Ukrainians have retreated from the settlement and taken positions up the hill in the forest lines. Again, makes much more sense because now that Bakhmut had fallen, Khromove is in danger of being under constant Russian crossfire, and those Ukrainian positions are much easier to defend. Now, overall situation is interesting. First of all, I have a video of a Ukrainian president strangely and interestingly denying the fall of Bakhmut.
Mr. President, President Zelensky, is Bakhmut still in Ukraine's hands? The Russians say they've taken Bakhmut.
I think no, but you have to understand that there is nothing. They destroyed everything. There are no buildings. It's a pity, it's tragedy, but for today, Bakhmut is only in our hearts. There is nothing on this place. So, just ground and a lot of dead Russians. But they came to us. So that our defenders in Bakhmut, they did strong work. And of course, we appreciate them for their great job.
So that was that. This kind of speech gave Ukrainians hope that Bakhmut is still in their hands. Also, they are speculating that now that Russians have captured Bakhmut, they have walked into their trap, and that Ukrainians will launch their counter-offensive here to its flank and encircle Bakhmut, destroying Russians within it. For example, one pro-Ukrainian blogger had even cried a little that as the time of Bakhmut being completely encircled, Wagner would be completely gone in there. They will not stay in Bakhmut, they will retreat in 25th of May in order to regroup. So as you can see clearly, Ukrainians see this as their own victory, or at least a Pyrrhic victory for the Russians. Quickly, I want to say some things about Wagner as well. Although Wagnerites had lost a lot of people in the so-called Midgrinder, they are at the height of their popularity. And I'm sure a lot of Russians will be willing to join Wagner, especially now. So maybe a few months of regrouping and Wagner will resume their operations in Ukraine. Whether this, what Ukrainians are promising to us, is going to happen is interesting, so we will have to wait and see. Now from Bakhmut we will quickly go to Avdiivka. I believe that Avdiivka would be the next big city captured by the Russian forces. First of all, I believe Russian army needs to capture a major settlement. That way it would reanimate its popularity and prestige within the Russian people. Of course, Russians are continuously attacking from Vadyani towards Tonenki and Severne, as well as from Apitne to Avdiivka itself. In one of my videos, I showed Russians using incendiary rounds somewhere in this area, smoking out Ukrainian defenders. Russians had also advanced ever slightly here along the rail lines. So again, fighting towards Novokalinova continues. Russians are not sitting here doing nothing. So we might see some changes happening here. The fall of Bakhmut can ignite flames in Russian soldiers, and this could turn out to be very, very interesting. Anyway, this is the end of the video. If you liked it, please consider supporting it with a like, comment, and of course a subscription. Humanity, as always, calls me to condemn all violence against human beings. Have a good day, and always remember, Russia will be free.